I learned that I'm strange. Okay? Entrepreneurs are strange. They're not normal. Most people are not ready to be entrepreneurs. I've learned this in a very difficult way. I've tried to help a lot of people in my life to make their own companies, and I learned most of them are not good at it. Most of them think like employees. It's a totally different way of thinking. Okay? So employees, how do they think? What's the mindset? The mindset of most employees is, tell me what to do, and then I'll do it. If they're good employees, they think, tell me what to do, and I'll do a good job. I'll work really hard, and I'll do a great job. That's the good employee mindset, the most common. That's a terrible, terrible, terrible mindset to be your own boss. That's a terrible, terrible, terrible mindset to start your own business. Why? What's the first part? Tell me what to do. If you start your own business, nobody will tell you what to do. Nobody. You wake up, nobody's telling you anything. You have to decide everything. Making decisions. That's the hard part of, I've learned this for most people. The hard part of starting your own business is making the decisions. And I've realized a lot of people are afraid to do it, but you have to do it. You never know what's the right answer. Like, let's say you have a business and you need to, should I advertise? Should I spend money to advertise, or should I not? Nobody will tell you. Nobody will tell you the answer. You just have to decide. You can think about it. You can research. You can read. But in the end, you decide. Spend money on advertising or not. Do this or do that. Should I hire an employee or not? Nobody's going to tell you. No one's going to tell you anything as the owner of your own business. So that's the key part to answer your question about changing your mindset. You have to, before you go start a business, you have to get good at just making decisions. And you never know enough. Too many people are afraid to fail. They're afraid to make a mistake. If you're afraid to fail, if you're afraid to make mistakes, don't start your own business. Do not. Just be an employee. Being an employee is okay. Most people want to be an employee. It's a safer choice for most people. And that's okay. Nothing wrong with it. But if you think I'm going to start my own business, you have to make decisions without enough information. You must be ready to make mistakes, because you will make mistakes. You will fail sometimes. Possibly you'll fail many times. You have to just be able to say, you fail. You just say, oh, well, I failed. That was a bad decision. That was a bad idea. You learn, and then you keep going. And then you just keep going, you keep going. I've been an entrepreneur for 12 years. I still make mistakes. I still have to make decisions every day, and I never know what's the best one. I never know 100%. So that's the key. That's the hard part of being your own boss. And for a lot of people, it's very, very difficult. What should I say if they ask? Okay, this is a good question. What should I say? How do you respond to criticism? Again, this is another stress question, and we'll talk about it in a future show. But the general idea is, you want to say, well, I respond to criticism well. I listen, and I try to learn from it. I think about it. I look at my actions, and I see, is the criticism, is it useful? Is it good? Is it honest? If it is, then I try to learn from it. If it's not, then I just let it go. Something like that. You want to keep your answers very positive. That's the important part. Now, we will talk. We'll talk more about specific examples in a future show. Someone's going to San Francisco. So Malco says, I need to know you face to face. I'm going to San Francisco next year. Unfortunately, I'm not in San Francisco anymore. I am now in Japan. So enjoy San Francisco. It's a good city. Have a good time in San Francisco. Unfortunately, I can't meet you there. All right, I think we're almost done with the time. A couple more comments and then time to go. Just looking at the questions. Okay, well, I already answered this question, but I'm going to put it up here just again. What if they asked, why did you get fired from your last job? So, James, you may have missed it, but you don't want to answer this question. which means you need to call your last job. You need to call your last boss and apologize and be very specific about what you did wrong and tell them you're sorry. And then you want to ask your old boss, say, look, if someone calls you, will you tell them I resigned, I quit? Or will you tell them I was fired? Can you just tell them that I quit, that I resigned instead of being fired? And then tell them, say, the reason is I'm trying to get new jobs. I'm very sorry that what I did in the past job. I'm sorry I caused you problems. I'm trying to learn from that, trying to get new jobs now. And it's very tough if I tell them I was fired. So is it okay if I tell them I resigned? Is that okay with you? You must have this conversation with your old boss. And you must be very open and apologize and tell them you're sorry you caused so many problems, and you've got to do this. You have to have this, because what you need your old boss to say, okay. You need your old boss to say, okay, I'll tell them you quit. I'll tell them you resigned. I'll tell them, I won't tell them you were fired. That's really how you need to answer this. So then you don't need to say it. Then if they ask you, you say, no, I resigned. And then you avoid the question. So that's the hard way. It's difficult. Especially if you didn't like your boss, especially if it was a really bad situation. And especially if you really did something wrong. You have to take responsibility for that. All right. Well, that's enough then. Thank you for joining me. We'll be back. Our next show will be, this is Japan time, Saturday, 11 p.m. Japan time. So Saturday at 11 p.m. Japan time. Join me again live for the Effortless English Show. Get my free audiobook at effortlessenglish.com. effortlessenglish.com. Lots of love to you. Lots of love to the Effortless English family. I enjoy talking with you today. I'll be back again on Saturday. See you then. Bye.